Hello everyone, how are you today? I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com and I am here to bring you another live paper crafting class. It's really weird, I have like this yellowish light going on in my room and I don't know why. I was trying to adjust it before I went live, so you're just going to have to forgive the fact that it's kind of yellowish in here. Anyways, it is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm broadcasting to you live. So if you are watching live during this time, you can comment by logging into your YouTube or Google account. Some of you are also watching on Facebook, so you can chime in. But yes, comment along with us. When you comment, you get entered into a prize drawing. So I love to hear where you're from. I love to hear what you're doing. I love to hear how long you've been watching my videos. And on that note, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page, and then give me the thumbs up and some likes on this video. Thank you so much. We're gonna go ahead and let's see here. We're gonna share a card today. It's kind of like a fun fold card. It's called a corner tuck fold card. You may have seen them. In fact, a lot of them that I've seen are in the horizontal position, but we're gonna do one that's more vertical. And I'm creating that so that my corner is more hidden or camouflage. So I'm calling it the hidden corner tuck fold card, okay? And we're gonna be using the Rugged Icons dies, which I completely fell in love with the first time I saw them in the catalog. They are so unique, and I don't know, they're a great masculine addition to our Stampin' Up! Products. Let's please welcome, though, before we get started, let's welcome Trisha Josephs on YouTube. She's my moderator. She's the one who is answering your questions. She stands out because she's got a little wrench symbol next to her name during the live commenting. And she will be there to help take care of any questions or concerns you might have. Excuse me. And then on Facebook, we have Lisa Marshall. So her name does not stand out, but she is there. She's existing and she's watching and she's helping people out by commenting if you have questions while we're live. So I love your comment, Polly. Groupie. That's cute. Thank you. And yes, tell me where you're from. Tell me how long you've been watching too. If you've been watching my lives for a few years now, I love reading about that and hearing that. Trisha says to tag her. Yes, I love that you reminded us. To tag Trisha, you can actually start typing the @ the A with the circle around it, and then immediately her name, TRICIA, it should come up, and then you can click on it, and that comment will stand out to her. Now, in Lisa's case, it will not, but again, she's trying to check out all your comments as you chat. All right, so on that note, I think we're good to go. We will have a prize drawing at the end. Did I tell you that? I think I did. So let's go ahead and bring up the supply list and measurement list. There we go. So you can screenshot this, but you don't need to, because soon after this live video is done at 12:15, so about an hour and 15 minutes from now, you're going to be able to go over to my blog and see the recording of the video, access this PDF, which is printable, and it's got the measurements and supplies and photos and date on it. And you'll also be able to see several other photos of the cards that I'm going to be sharing today. So I'm going to walk you through one of them and then explain the other one. So you're getting 2 card ideas out of this video. So go ahead and check out those measurements. You can see we're also going to be using the Celebrating You stamp set. That debuted in the January through June mini catalog, which will end the end of June, you guys. So I'm so sad because some of these things are not carried over into the new annual catalog. So you can guarantee that they won't be available for a while or at all. They might go dormant. They might just, become retired. Who knows? But the New Horizons designer paper, everybody loves that. That is not carrying over, and the Celebrating You stamp set is. So just take note of those 2 things. The New Horizons, if you love it, you might want to grab it up soon. And you can shop for these products on my online store. You can access that by going to stampyourartout.com and then clicking the Shop Now button. All right, let's go to the desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my camera over there. Look at the beautiful grid paper I have, you guys. This is the grid paper that is in the In colors. So we have Gosh, I hope this is working on Facebook by the, oh good, we have some Facebook comments in there. All of a sudden I noticed that I'm only seeing red names, like, so on my device, if your name is in red, that means it's coming from YouTube. And if your name is in blue, that means that you're commenting from Facebook. And I thought, oh no, are the Facebook people not on? I thought maybe I have technology issues almost every week of some sort. So I was just praying that today we wouldn't. This grid paper is the new in color grid paper. It's the 2022 through 24 in colors. And I'm using the lighter of the two blues. This one is called, oh shoot, now I have to think. Oh my gosh, Rachel. You guys call it out. You call it out while I grab some of my papers here, because we're gonna start cutting. It's not Starry Sky, it's not Tahitian Tide. Oh, Orchid Oasis. It's the Orchid Oasis color. All right, so we're gonna start with 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and we're gonna cut it a little bit differently than I normally do. We're gonna cut it this way. Yes, I'm wearing the Orchid Oasis color. Actually, I thought it looked really good with the blue that's in the finished card. In fact, here, let's just bring that in so you can see it. So here is the finished one that we're gonna do. It looked pretty darn close to it. This is not Orchid Oasis. This is Misty Moonlight, which is a color that retired. So, so I'm wearing a blue that I thought was kind of good with both. Although I think I wore this color last week. Now that I think about it, I think this is the same shirt I wore last week or the week before. I wore it recently. Anyways, I think I did it with the songbird. Yes. Okay. Well, I do wash my clothes, so it doesn't. Yeah. Just know that I have lots of shirts. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut this a little differently. We're going to cut at 4 1/4 inches, but we're going to bring our cardstock in this way. So we're creating a 4 1/4 by 8.5 piece of cardstock for our base. We're going to score at the 5.5 inch mark. So 4 1/4, 5.5. Those are the two measurements that you always want to remember for the imperial measurements for card bases, okay? 4 1/4 by 5.5, because those fit into our medium size basic white envelopes, which I brought a pack out here so you can see. You get 40 envelopes in one pack. And I'm just gonna hold one out here so you can see that this size fits perfectly in there, okay? 4 1/4 by 5.5 is what we cut. And then we need to cut a couple more basic white pieces. Oh, and I have to apologize before I move on. I just remembered this too. So I guess I am having technical problems because I don't know what happened. I used my iPad to, you know, get the lives started, because you have to schedule them from the iPad. And then I forgot to plug it in to charge it overnight. So it's on really low percent. So I have to keep it plugged in order for this to keep going, which means my mic can't be plugged in. So I brought out one of my adapters that I have for other things, and it's gonna be a visual reminder that because I've done this before, I just need to go and see if I can find an adapter that will hold both the charger and the mic, because it's not fun for you guys not to hear me very well. Anyways, we're gonna cut now, and we're gonna cut on the measurement sheet. I had written down 3 1/8 by 4 5/8 and 2 7/8 by 4 3/8. So we're gonna start with our biggest measurement, which is 4 5/8. So we're gonna move this to the 4 5/8 inch mark, and we're gonna cut, and then we're going to rotate it this way, and we're gonna cut at 3 1/8. And then we're going to take this piece, cut it down 1/4 inch. So we're trimming a 1/4 inch off, and now that is 4 3/8, which is the second piece. And then this piece is not going to be, what was that first one? 3 1/8. So this is going to be 1/4 inch less than that. So it's going to be 2 7/8. And these two pieces, because they're 1/4 inch different in each direction, will layer over each other with a nice 1/8 inch border all the way around. This is going to be the front of our card. It's going to lay like this. And then we need to cut some designer paper, and I'm cutting all the pieces in front of you because I want to I want you to see how easy it is to do both layers, okay? Let me grab my bone folder here. Where did we put it? Here it is. Give it a good crease so it lies flatter. Okay, before we move on to cutting the designer paper though, I want to show you the other the other measurements that I had. So we did have an 1/2 inch by, I think I wrote 2 1/4. It doesn't matter how long it is because you can trim it. So this is the 4th piece of white that we need. I'm going to throw these scraps away. And then with this piece here, you can use it for, you know, anything that you want for a future project. But I'm going to pull out some extra cardstock and I'm going to cut the measurements for the second card just so that you see the difference here. So we're going to do 4 1/4, score at 5 1/2, fold. And by the way, when you press into your cardstock, you make kind of like a valley, and then on the other side you get kind of a mountain. I like to fold it so that my valley is on the outside and my mountain's on the inside, because you're breaking the fibers on the valley side and it looks a lot cleaner if you keep that on the outside. Okay, so for the remaining piece, I can cut this at 4 1/4 because my first measurement, my largest measurement, is 4 1/4 by 3. And then my second one is 4 by 2 3/4. So again, a 1/4 inch difference in each direction, but I made them a different size because it really doesn't matter if your front layer is smaller or larger, because as long as it tucks into the corner, okay? And this way it's going to accommodate the different things that I put on the front of each card. So that's why I put those 2 different measurements with the word "or" between them, because you have a choice. You have a choice on your layers. All right, grab those. And you see this now? This is 4 1/4, so you can use that as a nice size card layer in the future. All righty, let's take our designer paper now and bring that in. So on my original design, the one that I'm going to demonstrate for you today, I'm using 2 different pieces of designer paper that have very similar imagery, similar colors and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this one to 4 inches wide, and then we're going to cut off the top and we're going to cut to 4 1/4 inches in this direction. So we're making a layer that when you look at the card base, again, we have a 1/4 inch difference this way and this way, and when we center it, we have 1/8 inch all the way around. All right, so this is going to be a layer that goes on the inside of the card. When we open it up, we're going to see that beautiful sunrise, which on a fishing card is always great. And by the way, Father's Day in the US is coming up, so it's a great time to make some masculine cards. Okay, now for this piece, on a 6x6 piece of designer paper, you naturally have a 2x2 piece left over. So the next step I took when I made this card originally was to cut off that part and to trim this at a diagonal. Oops, keep it still. If you have trouble holding paper down on your trimmer like this, just take a sticky note and line it up and secure it in place, and your sticky note will make that paper stay where it needs to stay. Because we're cutting into a corner like that, you might have injury to your paper. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in just a bit here. We're going to cut from the center or from inside the paper somewhat and cut out and away, and then we can come back in and push out and away this way. Now we've protected the corners of that piece. You can use that for some other project. We don't need it today. This piece here is going to go right there. So it sort of lines up with our original lake, right? It's kind of camouflaged that way. Then I wanted a piece that when this was closed, would kind of flow into the image, but not give the image away. I kind of wanted it a surprise. So I thought, well, this one might work. So let's go ahead and cut this to 4 inches wide. And then we wanted it to go just to the edge so it blended in. So if this piece is 3 inches from top to bottom on the card, we want to go in 1/8 of an inch, which gives us a 2 7/8 inch piece. So we're going to cut it 2 7/8 inches. And we have our designer paper piece that will cover up that sun and not really show it on the front of the card. When you open up the card, then boom, the sun is there. Let's go ahead and add this little pocket piece here. Now we have a couple different glues. We have the fine tip glue and we have the multi-purpose liquid glue. 2 liquid glues that Stampin' Up! Carries. They do not come in these cute little bottles. I've transferred them to these precision tip bottles. You can find links to my favorite extras, things that are not Stampin' Up! In the description of my video. So we're going to use just the multi-purpose for now. I'm going to just pull off any goo that's on the end here, and I'm going to squeeze out real carefully. The nice thing about the precision tip is it gives you a super fine line of glue. Okay, so I've got that along each side, and I'm going to put it right into this corner, putting it over the white so I can see it better. So that's going to go right in there like that. And I'm just going to tuck some paper in here just to make sure that it allows for tucking the paper. Okay, we don't want to stick it in all the way because we don't want to get any glue on it, but we're just giving it a little bit of a lift as we glue this down. And that glue will dry fairly quickly. In fact, that's why I like using it a little bit more than the fine tip glue. It dries a little bit quicker, but it does dry tackier. So it's a little sticky if it oozes out. You can always use like an adhesive eraser type thing to get rid of any extra that's seeping out, just kind of rub it off. The fine tip glue is nice because it dries hard and clear. So if you're applying buttons or sequins with holes, you're adding a really thin piece of twine or something, this is nice because it will dry and not be tacky. You'll be able to touch it afterwards and not feel like you have a sticky little mess there. And it's got a little sheen to it. So we're going to use it a little bit later for some fun embellishing. All right, and we used it last week. Remember when we used it last week to apply those sequins because I feel like it works better on window sheets. So now we can take and add this to the inside of the card. In fact, let's do this first. Just to be on the safe side, we're going to be stamping at the top here. So let's do that before we actually add any layers in case we mess up, right? Because if we mess up, we can flip it the other way and we could put the paper over the mess up part. We're not going to though, right? We're going to stamp just fine. So I've got my Happy Father's Day image, and that comes from the Celebrating You stamp set. Again, this debuted in the January through June mini catalog, which is still active. It is beautiful DSP. DSP means designer paper for those of you that are looking at other people's comments. When someone says DSP, it means designer series paper. So here we have Celebrating You, and you can see there's a Father's Day in there, there's an Easter, there's some baby ones, there's a Mother's Day. It's a great all-occasion stamp set if you're looking for a stamp set like that. And the different font combinations in each sentiment are just striking and very modern. It's what a lot of sentiments look like nowadays, is the 2 different looks of fonts. So I love this stamp set. Okay, so we're going to stamp this, and I didn't put my label on yet. Should I do that right now? Let's do that. Let me show you guys how to do a label. It's really quick and easy. Here's the Happy Father's Day label. On the back side, there are these separations that you can get the sticky part to show. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clean this. Hang on. We're going to use our cleanup pad here and our mist. I'm just going to give it a good scrub because I left it inked up from the last time I stamped. Okay, we're going to peel this off. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole sticker. So there's 2 sides to your sticker. You have this backing here, and you have the backing on this side. And you want to separate it so that the whole piece is lifting up. The easiest way, and the way that I love putting labels on stamps, is to just take that label and put it directly on the block. And you can see I've lifted these two corners up so that this backing is easy to peel off. Then I grab some dark cardstock, because when it's sitting against dark cardstock, it's easier to see the outline of the image. So we're going to set it there, and we're going to go directly over the top. You can see where that label is right there. You can see the edge of it. So it's easier over a dark piece of cardstock to line everything up and to press it into place. And now that label is going to be stuck to the foam part. When you peel your cling stamps off your block, the label can separate if it's a really large stamp. So make sure that you grab underneath with your fingernail, or you could take like the Take Your Pick tool. There's a spatula end to the Take Your Pick tool, and you could take and slide that underneath, or the poker part, you know. So however it works for you, if you don't have fingernails that work, but grab the whole thing and then you can peel it off to put it away. Now we have our label. Yay! All right, let's go ahead and stamp that on the inside. I'm still going to, because it's a cling mount stamp and I can't see through it like I can with the photopolymer clear stamps, I'm still going to practice on my grid paper to make sure that when I stamp it, it's going to line up correctly. So I'm looking at the bottom line of my stamp. You can see there's a horizontal line at the bottom there, and I'm using that as a guide. And that looks pretty darn close. So we're going to go ahead and use that as a guide when we stamp on here. And I'm making sure that that line is parallel with the horizontal fold line of my card. Now I'm not going directly over the top. In fact, I'm using my device here that I'm streaming through to look at the mirrored reflection, or not reflection, but the image of what you guys are seeing. I did it. Because normally you want to go right over the top of something to make sure it's straight. So I hope that I gave you some good tips on there. Some of you are chiming in that those were good tips. So yay, glad that helped some of you. Some of you may have already known that stuff. Okay, now we can go ahead and apply this piece. So we'll let's just use our seal adhesive, because that's quick and easy. You can use the liquid glue if you want to. Either liquid glue would do fine. I have actually, the more I use the seal adhesive, the easier it is for me. It took some learning curve for those of you that still are not on board with seal adhesive. You just have to practice and practice and practice, and pretty soon your hand and your wrist and all of that stuff, it gets used to how you're supposed to be using it. Okay, this piece is going to go on the top part of our card, up here. But like all tape runners, sometimes they get temperamental, and you have to give them love. As long as you always apply a full width of adhesive, you're not going to have it catch up on you. So if you're only getting a portion of the adhesive coming out, you're going to have issues. Make sure that you lie your hand flat when you work with it. So there we have the outside, and there we have the inside. It's much more cheerful on the inside, isn't it? All right, now we're going to work on the other layers. So let's bring in our black cardstock, and I'm going to put these aside for a minute here. Let's bring in our adhesive sheets. Let's bring in our distressed gold specialty paper. And I think, oh, here they are. Like, where'd my other white go? Here they are, right here. So we're going to have this one, and that's going to tuck into the corner there. Isn't that fun? It's going to go right in like that. And it's going to help to hold the card shut. Okay, I can put that behind me too. So let's stamp on this piece, and we're going to stamp the For You, and then we're going to also work with this piece and, well, actually these three pieces. This is just going to become a layer, that white one, so we can just set that all aside. Let's grab some tape, because we're going to mask. Now you can, if you're really good, you can choose to just ink up a portion of the stamp, but I didn't put my label on this one either. So sometimes that's hard to do. So if you don't want to get real stressed out and try to eyeball it, just put some tape over the portion of the stamp you don't want to ink up. Or you could take the brush side of the black Stampin' Write marker, not the blends markers, but the Stampin' Write markers, and you can color the 4 and the U that way. But we're going to go ahead and just ink it up like this. And you can see the tape picked up some of that ink. I saw the question about what's the difference between the two different glues. Sorry, I had to throw that away. Don't want to get ink on me, so I had to throw it in the garbage. Okay, we're going to line that up and stamp it down. Oh, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's punch it. So the difference again is one is white, one is clear. The liquid glue that's fine tip glue, I'm going to breathe on it now to give it some moisture, and we're going to stamp. That one is so there's one that's clear. This is the clear one, and then this is the multi-purpose. This one dries hard and clear, great for buttons and sequins and things with holes, twine, also used as an embellishment. This is the multi-purpose. It dries tacky, a little sticky, but it's also a great glue. A lot of people use this because it dries quickly and it's fast and easy to use. So we've stamped our 4U, and now we can take our piece here, and before we actually add this to the whole card, we're going to trim it. Okay, we're going to apply it and trim it. So that's going to get set aside for a minute. Let's do some die cutting. We're bringing in the Rugged Icon dies now. Yay! All right, so the Rugged Icon dies are, where are they? Here they are. You got to see these. These are so cool, you guys. And they're even better after you die cut them. So this is what they look like. By the way, I have them on a magnetic sheet that you can get through Stampin' Storage. I have links for the magnetic sheets and the little folders that I store my dies in. Those are all found in my favorite extras also. So you get 5 different dies in here, and you can see that they've got, you know, some masculine flair to them. You got the fishing rod, which we're gonna do. You've got the guitar, which is on the other card. You've got this great scenery, which is in a circular shape. You've got this fun mustache and beard, and then you've got the electric drill or electric screwdriver. So let's take and die cut both of these, and we're going to put adhesive sheet on the back side of our cardstock first, because if we do that, then we won't have to worry about putting glue all over the back side. Okay, so let's peel off, because you have, just like we had with the stickers that go onto your stamps, you have an adhesive backing here, and you have an adhesive backing here. So you're going to go ahead and peel off the side that is easy to peel off because you've got these little separations in it. And I'm doing the whole piece of black here because I think I'm going to just line up all the Rugged Icon dies, and we'll just do them all at once. Now, if you don't get adhesive everywhere, you can see there was a little gap there that didn't get it, you know, it peeled away with the backing. That's okay. You don't have to have every single little section glued. Okay, so you're going to put that on one side of your black cardstock, and then we're going to run it through the machine. In fact, yes, let's go ahead and take all those dies. Let's bring in our machine. We've got our magnetic plate, and someone asked the question last week, what's the difference between the magnetic plate and the last one that we used to have? So I saved my last one, and I'm glad I did. You can see there's a difference in the thickness, because what Stampin' Up! Did is they added a supportive metal plate, kind of like a brushed nickel looking plate to the back side. It's metal. And then on this one, we do not have that, and what happened was, you can see that there's a slight curvature to mine. Some people's plates really warped, and that's why Stampin' Up! Took that product back and worked with it and made the new updated magnetic plate number 5. Okay, so that is the difference. Now, another thing I want to mention is if you have the magnetic platform, remember that one that we had when we sold the Big Shot machine? Please be careful not to have these plates come near each other. I had someone tell me that they connected the two accidentally. They were using that platform rather than this platform that's not magnetic, and it took a lot of effort to pull those two pieces apart. So be careful, because this whole thing is magnetic and it will grasp stuff. Okay, so we're going to put our magnetic plate down onto our platform number 1. We don't need die adapter number 2, even though the illustrations show that, so be careful not to do that. And then we're going to just lay these pieces on here. I probably won't get them all on here, but we'll just put as many as we can on. Oh, this one still has a few little sections in here that I didn't get out, because I did some die cutting with this one. Here, let's use the brush. I did some die cutting with it with the distressed gold paper, and oh, it was so pretty, but I ended up not using it and I threw away the piece, and yeah. Anyways, okay, poke it through. There we go. All right, so we can set that on there so you can see how that one die cuts. Can we get them all on here? I don't think we can. No, we can't. That's okay. We'll just do those. You know what I want to do? I want to do the mustache and beard. I want to see what that looks like. All right. Did Linda just share a good tip? Someone said, thanks, Linda. I love it. Hi, Linda, by the way. Thank you for helping. All right. I'm going to center this a little bit better because you want to line it up so it goes in straight without hitting the sides of your machine. Okay, and then we crank it through. And that magnetic plate, by the way, because it has the metal plate underneath, it does a really good job of not bending and bowing, and so you get a really clean cut the first time through. Let's take this plate off and the platform off. And then let's peel this up. Ta-da! Now you can see with an adhesive sheet, you're gonna sometimes not have everything just fall out of, like all the little pieces come out. The adhesive sheet tends to do a little bonding, but the cardstock in front of it is cut, believe me. Oh, see there. Okay, let's go ahead and take our our die brush tip for our take your pick tool. See, this just comes separately, by the way, and you screw it onto the end here. And we're just gonna push all of these pieces out, and you can see what that sort of looks like. Is it come? Yeah, there. Oh, it's so cool. And then all of these little guys come out. There's tiny little lines through the mountains here, which are kind of hard to see because the adhesive sheet is holding on to them. But all of those little lines will come out, and the mountain will look, it will look like this. But isn't that fun how thin they are? They're just super thin little lines, but we have the sticker on the back side, so they will be easy to add to our card. Let's go ahead and push this one out. And if we get rid of all those little guys, you can see again how thin. Look at the lines. I mean, this is just really, really, it cuts the cardstock so thin around it. I don't want to tear it. Look at that. Crazy, right? So I'll have to make a card with this because now it's all peeled away. In fact, you know what? Let's just peel off the back side, and then all those pieces will fall out better and you can see it better. Amazing. Amazing, amazing. And then we'll grab the fishing rod, which we need soon, and the guitar for the second card. Okay, let's take all of these other pieces and move them aside. For the fishing rod, we want to keep that little tiny fish that's in there. So you actually get 2 fish out of the whole thing. We're going to peel off the backing. And And there's, again, these lines are so thin, you guys, so they're pretty fragile and you don't want to pull too hard. And then what we need to do is poke these little extra pieces out. And if they stick, you know, push them down onto some cardstock or your grid paper just to make sure that they're all coming out of that area. Okay, we'll save that little fish though. Don't go away, little fish. Okay, we are ready. Our little word for you is going to be applied to the top. So we're going to put some adhesive across the back of the banner, and we're going to add that right here. And then we're going to, oops, push down, Rachel. And then we're going to trim. I like to turn my cardstock over so I can use that as a guide when I trim off the excess. So that's stuck on there. And then we're going to add this, and I'm just going to make sure I'm doing this right here. Grab my finished card here. Yes, okay. So then we're going to add this to this layer. And I'm doing this all now because the fishing rod is actually going to extend beyond our piece here. So now this piece has to go on the top, connect to the top part of the card. So I'm going to put adhesive along here, and then you can guess if you want to, like you could go this way and then put adhesive here, but it might be safer to just put a little adhesive right there along the bottom part of the flap. And then you can center everything and lay it down, tuck it in. Okay, we're testing it out, making sure it works. And now our sticky little die cut fishing rod can go just a little bit beyond, making sure I'm making it look like the one that I've finished. It's photographed and already on my blog, waiting for it to go live. See how it extends beyond? Kind of fun, huh? Oh, let's not stick this one down all the way yet, because we're going to bring in this gold distressed paper, and I'm just going to trim a little bit out of here so then we won't use up the whole thing. And I'm going to use that sticky note again to help hold on to it. And we're going to open up our fish builder punch. This is new. And we're going to insert it so that we're punching out just the smaller of the two fish. And I have a large enough piece here where I think I can even do a second one. Can I do a second one? If I want to. Look at that. I was so careful in cutting. All right, so we have one of our fish, and we're going to add that right underneath this one so that our black outline fish still shows, but this one is right next to it. And then we'll take our solid fish, we'll peel off the sticker backing, and we'll add that right about here. So wow, this person caught 3 fish, all with one piece of bait. Pretty cool. All right, after that's all on there, then we're gonna add some color, because we have these things called blends markers, and blends markers are incredible coloring tools. I like to start with my light color and then add a little accent with the dark color and then go back with the light to blend the two together. So these two here are our soft succulent markers. They come in pairs. You get a light and a dark, and you can see that that soft succulent color is part of the designer paper. So we're going to go ahead and push off the end cap here, and I'm going to go in and I'm just going to add a little bit of color in between these areas of the fishing rod handle. Okay, close the cap. When you're not using the marker, make sure that the cap is held on really tight so that your ink doesn't dry. Your ink can dry out with these markers because they're alcohol based, and so if the cap isn't tight or you leave them with capless for a long time, you can just, totally ruin your marker and you can't use it anymore. So now you can see what I did here. I added just a touch of dark to the left side, so it looks as if it's got the lighter, like the light is shining on one side versus the other. And And then I'm going to come in and blend these two. And you know what, just a little bit more maybe, and I think I'm going to use the bullet tip instead of the brush tip. I'm just going to add a little bit more dark here. Okay. It just wasn't dark enough for me. Can you see that now? Now we're getting a good blend going. You may find that some of the color seeps beyond your cardstock sticker that we've created here, but hopefully not, as long as you don't add several layers of ink over and over and over again. So we want to make that quick and easy. We're going to do the same thing with our So Saffron pair now. We have a light and a dark So Saffron, and I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to use the bullet tip on these because this is a much smaller area. I'm going to test this one. Yes, we're fine. Because it did some weird things to me. It had a little drip of alcohol that came out the other day when I was doing some coloring. So testing your markers is a good idea. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of this. And we're just going to add this darker one to two opposite sides, as if our string, our reel here on the rod, has a different kind of sheen. It's kind of hard to see that, isn't it? Let's see if the brush tip will give us a little bit bolder yellow in here. Sometimes one end is a little bit more intense in color, and I'm finding that to be true with this one. Okay, so now you can see the difference between. So it kind of gives you that look of shine on there. And then we're going to bring in one more coloring tool, and that tool is called the Wink of Stella pen. Okay, this is kind of like a paint pen, and it adds shimmer. So again, I'm just testing it onto my little surface here, and we're going to go and add some sheen, some glitter, which might be really hard to see on the camera. It has a very fine brush, by the way, so if I'm going slower, I could probably avoid the black cardstock, but I'm trying to go fast, so I'm hitting it a little bit. But you can see that there's a little bit of a glow to that string now. Kind of replicates the fish, right? Because we have some metallic sheen to the fish. Okay, the next step is to take some embellishments, and I decided the new iridescent pearl basic jewels, as opposed to our iridescent pearls from a few years back. We used to, I don't know how many years back, but we had some iridescent pearls that were like a darker color, and these are called the iridescent pearl basic jewels. Okay, so there's a difference in the names in case you're wondering. We're gonna add, oh, we'll just grab from here because these are kind of all conglomerate mess right now. We're gonna add some pearls here. Let's start with a larger one. I'm just pushing to get it caught on the sticky end of my Take Your Pick tool. And we're gonna add that one close to the fish here. Let's add another large one, maybe right up here. Yes, I'm looking off to the side because I'm trying to make this card look similar to the one that I've already created. Okay, we'll add one here, and let's add another small pearl right about here. So what I'm doing now is I'm making kind of a water droplet look, and I found that I didn't want to add too many of these pearls. So ta-da, we're bringing in the fine tip glue again. And what you do, and I'm just gonna demonstrate on some scrap paper here. So I'm gonna turn this over. What you do is you just squeeze out a fine little dot of it and you let it dry. And it becomes, sorry for my rigid nails here, and it becomes this beautiful little water droplet. It will dry hard and clear, and you're gonna get this look. So it looks as if there's water spraying out from the line, the fishing line, and the fish just came out of the water. Isn't that fun? All right, I better make sure that I close up that so it doesn't get stuck on anything. So that is what fine tip glue does, and it dries hard and clear, okay? Hard and clear. In fact, let's do this. Let's just zoom in so that the light is still shining on it from the table. Is that easier to see maybe? Hopefully you can see them. Maybe my camera is showing me something different than what you're seeing, but their water droplets are there in case you can't see them. Okay, next card uses the guitar, and I'm going to show you the designer paper now. Oh yeah, let's grab that brush. I don't have all the pieces of the New Horizons paper because I've loved it up so much. I think I bought 3 packs, maybe 4, since it came out. And so I don't have one of each sheet, but I can show you kind of a sampling of what you get when you purchase the New Horizons designer paper. So it's watercolor imagery that looks like scenes. The back sides are not always scenes. They're just kind of watercolor washes most of the time. This is more like a galaxy scene and maybe ocean, who knows. But you can see the different imagery. This one's very detailed compared to the other ones. Some of them are icier, look more wintry. This one's beautiful, I love it. And then this one obviously we just used. This one's very wintry. Got some mountains, looks like in the background here, and some snow-topped houses. And then you've got this summer scene on the front. So that's only 9 sheets, and there's like, I think there's 12 different designs, 4 of each that you get in the pack. And I don't have all of them anymore. So sorry about that. But what I want to tell you for the guitar card is that you have these inside pieces here that you could fill in with another color if you want to. So you could take and die cut your guitar twice and fill in these 3 pieces. On the fishing rod, you could do that, except it's very intricate to put all of those tiny little negative pieces back in. So I'm not sure if I would encourage that on that one. It's up to you though, if you want to give it a go. But on the guitar card, what I did is I took my paper trimmer and I cut 2 of the same sheets, 2 of the exact same sheets at the same time at 4 inches. I saved this for another project, and then I took them both and I cut them again together so that they were exactly the same. I cut them at 5 1/4 inches. Okay, and actually I think I cut the other way, or I would have cut the other way because I probably wanted more up here than I would down here, but that's okay. So we cut our pieces both to the exact same size, which are 4 by 5 1/4. And then the top one, I cut a little bit more. So I cut 2 inches off from the bottom and 2 inches off from the bottom left, or bottom right. That would be the bottom right. And then I cut it a diagonal. So this piece is the exact same piece that fits here. And then from this piece, I cut down to 2 7/8, right? That was what it was, 2 7/8. I want to make sure I'm doing that right. Yes, 2 7/8 from the top. And that piece went on the front of the card. So if you're looking at that card base again, this piece went here. In fact, let's just tape it on there so you can see how it lines up. So this piece goes here and lines up right with the edge. This piece goes on the inside, and I won't glue on that corner, but I'll just show it to you. Okay, and then this piece went down here, and now it's very camouflaged. Like you're not going to see that corner, that little tuck corner, and you're going to see the same scene on the inside. So if you want the same scene on the inside, that is a much easier way to do it than to find coordinating pieces, matching pieces. So let me show you that finished card. That one looks like this. So I took my guitar and I did this portion with the Distressed Gold specialty paper and put that on the inside along with, where did it go here? This black piece. I put that back into the middle of the guitar. And then I took blends markers. I used the So Saffron blends markers and I colored on the inside here with the light and the dark. I used Wink of Stella through there. The embellishments are the champagne rhinestones. Now what I was going to do, and I didn't have time to do, was to find some embellishments that I could create into music notes. But I was kind of working last minute this week. So what I would suggest is either, finding some black rhinestones and adding an extended black line, maybe a little flag on it. You could turn a couple of these into 1/8 notes or 16th notes or something like that, connect them with the lines or the 2 lines, and you can have all these musical notes surrounding your guitar. I used another image from that stamp set. This one here, You're on My Mind and in My Heart. So for you on the front of a Father's Day card, or You're on My Mind and in My Heart. Both of those are great front sentiment messages, and that's what it looks like on the inside. So it's the exact same paper. The corner is cut from the exact same paper. So it's done the same way, just having a slight variation, right? So we're gonna go ahead and tuck that. So those are our finished cards. Now I hope that you've enjoyed watching this, and I hope that while you're watching this, you've decided, oh my gosh, Rachel, we're gonna go ahead and subscribe to your YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, give me the thumbs up. Share the video too. I guess there's a share button. I just heard about it from my friend Nancy Forsberg. You can click the share button. Now I've seen it there, but I didn't know that you can share it to all these different places. So click the share button, share away please, I'd appreciate it. We're gonna zoom in just a tad here and open this one up. This one does not have any glue on it yet, so I can go ahead and touch it. Yay. So that is the inside of that card. Fun. Well, the Rugged Icons die set, I think, is a great addition to your masculine projects. So if you're needing that or any of the other products I showed, please visit my blog at stampyourartout.com and click the Shop Now button. There's also a shop button that you can find on my Facebook page. So if you're watching on Facebook, find that shop button there and go ahead and click on it and purchase. Now, if you already have a demonstrator, purchase from them. I love to share, so please don't feel like you need to purchase from me if you're already set up. If you're a demonstrator yourself, purchase from yourself and keep yourself active because it's really fun. And on that note, we have a great starter kit that's going on this month. It's called the In Color Starter Kit. This grid paper is part of it. You get to pick anything you want up to $125 worth of product and pay $99 plus tax. So the shipping's free and you're paying less than what you would on the retail price. Plus you're getting an In Color packet of stuff. You're getting a pack of grid paper, you're getting all the new In Color pads, ink pads, and you're getting some designer paper in those In Colors, plus you're getting a variety pack of 8.5 by 11 of those In Colors. So it's a $61.50 value in addition to all the other stuff that you normally get as a great deal on the starter kit. If you're wondering how to access that, there is a description in my YouTube video for joining my community. You can also go to my blog at stampyourartout.com and you can click on the Join My Community little link there. There's a Get the Starter Kit option. Okay, so what other news do I want to tell you? The house stuff, you guys. I am so excited to get this going. We've kind of been living in limbo on plywood because we're waiting for our cabinetry to come in, but I have a feeling that next week things are going to start rolling, so I'm going to be sharing pictures soon. I'm so excited. The in-between pictures, I don't know, maybe I should share them too, but it's crazy. If you've ever lived in remodeling, there's holes in your walls, there's wires coming out of everything, there's holes in our floor. Yeah, it's a bare mess. It's kind of funny, but I enjoy it because my dad, he was a builder. He was a sheet metal worker by trade, but oops, I'm going to click on something here. He was a sheet metal worker by trade, but he built lots of things, and he's like Mr. Handyman. So I love this Rugged Icons die set because it's perfect with some of the stuff that remind me of him. We have prizes. Do you guys want to do some prize drawings? Okay, so last week we had some prize options. We had several different things that we could pick from, And we have a couple things left for the 2 remaining prize winners that I've already selected, and I based those selections on your after live comments or on Facebook. For you Facebook people, we draw the winner after a week of commenting. So if you're commenting now on Facebook, we don't have enough commenters yet where we justify picking a during live comment yet. So bring your friends on over to Facebook, tell them to come. Is that it? Nope, that's my email. Is that it? Nope, that's my YouTube. So come on over to Facebook. Tell your friends to come on over to Facebook and comment from there if they can't find me on YouTube. Here is YouTube. You just look for me, Rachel Tessman, on YouTube. And yes, anyways, follow me on one of those. I'm going to bring up the names of the winners. We had an after live commenter winner for YouTube from our video that we had last week, and that person, let me pull up the name here. So, and then I'll bring you down to the prize choices, okay? So I love her name here. Sweet Sarah has won from the After Live comments on YouTube, and thank you for your kind comment. Yay. Have you thought of turning your dies the other way? Now, I'm glad this one came up. I remember reading this one afterwards. So yes, you can do that, but then the magnet doesn't pull onto the paper, like it doesn't grab the paper. But you can do that, but you don't need to with the magnetic plate because it's very stiff. I'm finding that I don't have to run it through twice. I don't have to run it through upside down. With regular cutting mats, it's helpful to turn your intricate dies like these here in the rugged icons. It's helpful to turn them upside down if you don't have the magnetic plate because that'll give it a cleaner cut. Okay, and then for Facebook, the Facebook winner is SC Moore. SC Moore is the winner on Facebook. So from all the comments from last week. So congratulations to you people. And I hope that you reach out to me at my email address so that you can claim your prize. And what are the prize choices, Rachel? We have a full pack of the All Together black and white designer paper. And we have the Wild Roses background stamp up for grabs. So first come, first serve. If you do not live in the US, you can choose a tutorial off my blog, and that is always an option. So if you are somebody who would rather have a tutorial, you can certainly claim that instead. And now I'm going to go over to my YouTube screen on my computer, and we're going to announce prize winners, but we have to tell you what the prizes are. The prizes. I'm still here. Oh no, it fell. It fell. All right, so now I'm going to bring it to my table here. Hang on, I got to spread these out better. It's paper time. DSP, Designer Series paper in 6x6 assortment. Yay. So for our 2 live winners that Trisha is going to call out on YouTube, so thank you for joining in on the live on YouTube. You get an assortment of designer paper, and no, you cannot pick each sheet. That would be really hard to do. I'm just going to give you an assortment of designer papers from past retired designer papers and specialty papers. We have printed, we have like ones that are monochromatic, we have ones that are printed from years back. We have glitter sheets. We have glitter sheets in there. You can see we've got, oh my gosh, that one right there is so pretty. So lots of different choices. Oops, there's a loose one in there. That'll just be a bonus one added to somebody's pack. Okay, so there she has called the winners. Yay! So I'm going to leave my email address up there. Make sure you reach out to me. We have Randy Hetland and Laura Klinkler. Hang on a minute. Yes, Klinkler. I need to make my screen bigger. As we age, we need to make our screens have larger and larger fonts. I'm finding that to be true. So on that note, congratulations to the prize winners. Yay! Thank you all for commenting. Thank you for joining in during the live. I hope you had a fun time. I have some cards next week that I've already designed, so I'm excited to share those. I've already picked those out. And so on that note, hopefully I'll see you on May 25th at 11 a.m. Central Time. That is next Wednesday. And in the meantime, oops, let's pull this up here instead. You've seen the papers long enough, right? In the meantime, I don't have any other news to share, so I'm going to let you all go. And I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye, everyone.